Yes, looks good.
Now, I can't easily see chat at this point, so if someone else should happen to see someone talking, feel free to either text answer them or let me know there's something happening there. I'm Tanya. I am a mom of a PKUer. That's how it all started for me, and I've quickly gone up, and somehow now I'm vice president of CAN PKU. We'll next go to Dawn. Dawn, do you want
Well,
to
hi everyone. My name is Dawn Hooten. I do work with Nutricia. Actually, in the United States, I cover the West Coast and live in San Diego, and it's such a pleasure to be here with you guys.
And Rachel, do you want to say a quick hello?
Absolutely. My name is Rachel Powers. I'm a dietitian. I work with Nutricia now. I'm part of the medical affairs team. So a lot of creating education materials, things like that. But in my former life, I was a metabolic dietitian. So PKU is near and dear to my heart. Happy to be here.
Adrienne.
Yes, I'm Adrienne. I work in marketing for Nutricia in Canada. So I've helped in developing a few of the tools that you will see today, and we will be happy to share a few more with you after the session.
Perfect. And we have Amanda who will do a full introduction and chat just because she's driving there, as we can see. So we'll have her do that intro when she talks later on. So it's a jam-packed session today. I'm going to try to whip through a little quickly some of my information, but anyone who's seen the recording or watching it live, you can always email to info@canpku and I can send you out some of the resources that I've pulled from for these materials. Nutrition is going to provide their solutions for the PKU diet for us. Amanda will share her PKU story journey. If we have any Q&A, and then we'll do a quick closing. So at the bottom of my slides, if you can see them, you'll see where I've pulled from. There's about 4 or 5 sources perhaps that I've pulled from. So this one is part of Nutritious package that you would receive if you received their pregnancy maternal package. So the easy answer from can a woman with PKU have a baby is yes. That's the easy answer. So now we're good, we're done. We can close off and nothing else needs to be said. But there is still a concern with the phenylalanine, controlling it before and during the pregnancy. And for mom to do well once baby's born, it's that adaptation to switching back to their pre-pregnancy regime that has to be still maintained in order to keep that cognitive function open for dealing with children. I mean, all parents need that help. So the effects on the baby. There's limited effect on the baby if everything is controlled properly during the pregnancy and you're watched for everything. So when blood Phe levels are in good control, a woman can have a baby just as healthy as a woman without PKU. The clinic will help you maintain your Phe levels. It's important that your metabolic control before conception, and at the very least, if it's an unplanned pregnancy, once pregnancy is known, to improve the outcome of the baby. The question often comes up is, if I have PKU, will my child have PKU? If you're procreating with another individual who has PKU, absolutely, because you're both going to give them PKU genes. But if the other person does not have PKU, then your children will be carriers, as shown in this little image here. And where you may get a PKUer, if you don't realize that your significant other has a carrier gene as well, then you have a 50-50 chance on having either a PKUer or a carrier of a PKUer. Maternal PKU syndrome is a condition that's caused by the elevated Phe, which will harm a developing fetus. This is those families who are unplanned for pregnancy or untreated during their pregnancy. So children born to mothers who have untreated PKU can have intellectual disabilities, heart defects, it affects cognitive behavior, bone structure. There's so many things that come into play if you're untreated. So the key message is to ensure that you are following your clinic's guidelines. A good way to get in control of that is to follow your diet, to have your formula every day, and keep in communication with your metabolic team. As your baby is growing, your food appetites, your preferences, your eating habits, will you have morning sickness? All of those things can change just like any other pregnancy. So your metabolic team can help you with creating your low pro diet plan, which is still going to be mostly fruits and vegetables, foods made in low protein, but you may be able to add in some more of those foods, which I know that Amanda was excited about rice, that there's foods that you can add in to get you to that protein levels because your baby's helping you consume those proteins. So again, down here at the bottom, it's showing you based on the number as to where I got my information from. So the feed levels you're looking for are going to be less than 240 UMOls or the 4 milligrams, depending on how you count your blood spots. So therapies with Kuvan, a bit of a tricky one. So find out if you are responsive before conception. It's best. You can't do that when you are pregnant. But if you are Kuvan responsive, you can talk to your doctor about whether or not Kuvan's good for you in pregnancy. There's not been a full study done on Kuvan with pregnant women. So they can't say, yes, it's safe or no, it's not, because there's not been a big enough study done. However, there have been a small number of women who have been on Kuvan while pregnant, and in order to help them control their feed levels, that risk outweighs the concern. There's been no harmful effects on the fetus reported with the Kuvan use. But again, because it's a small portion, there's not enough to say, yes, it's safe as of yet. So this center section here is actually pulled right from the website regarding Kuvan. Again, since your diet is low in proteins, whole proteins alone, there won't be enough for you and your baby to thrive during a pregnancy. So you are going to need the alternative protein, which comes from your formula. And the formula will give calories and vitamins and minerals, and just like it does when you're not pregnant, it also increases your feeling of fullness. So there's no way other than formula to provide this proper fetal growth and development. So it is essential. Saying that, we have Nutricia here to go over their options for you. And again, we say that there's, again, slides that are taken from Nutricia's paperwork. Keeping your feed levels in control is utmost important when planning or when pregnant. Again, as well as when once your little one has arrived, because you need to have your wits about you as much as any other parent to help raise those littles. And some tips in order to help do that are to establish a routine, keep snacks with you, pre-plan your meals, maintain your formula stock, extra supply of everything, and drinking plenty of fluids. So I am going to turn it over to Dawn, who is going to discuss, and I'm sorry, I know I speak fast, but I try to slow down, but I'm going to turn it over to Dawn now with the Nutricia Solutions.
Thank you so much, Tanya. And for those of you guys who might be just joining us, my name is Dawn. I work with Nutricia actually in the United States, and I cover the West Coast and living in California. So it's such a pleasure to be here with everyone. And really, I'm really excited to be able to share with you guys some of the formula options that Nutricia offers for our maternal PKU community. And I think the really neat thing here is that Nutricia has so many different formulas that we really can fit the needs of almost everybody that needs a PKU. Calories, fat, carbs, micronutrients like vitamins and minerals, and all of those goodies included in these types of formulas. The first two that you're seeing here are GMP-based formulas. And if you're not familiar with what GMP means, it stands for glycomacropeptide, and you probably will never have to say that word again, so we'll just use GMP moving forward. But the really neat thing about GMP-based formulas is that they're actually made from a whole protein source. So GMP is derived through the cheese making process, and through that whey making process, the phenylalanine is naturally decreased. I do want to share with you guys though that the GMP will never be at zero for GMP-based formulas. I'm sorry, the Phe will never be at zero for GMP-based formulas. So there's going to be a range of Phe anywhere from 12 to 18 milligrams in any GMP-based formula that's actually on the market. So Pinpointing the very first one, that is our Phenolate GMP Ready. That is our ready to drink option, GMP based formula. And right underneath that, we've got our Phenolate GMP drink mix. So this is a powdered formulation. Both of them come in 10 grams protein equivalent per serving. And the really great thing about these formulas is that they both contain DHA. And so I don't know if you guys know too much about DHA, but what research shows is that it's incredibly important for children as they're growing. So even from, fetus to 2-3 years old, for brain and eye development, even nerve development, it's important for youngsters, but even for adults, it's important. So I know that I take a high dose DHA supplement every day. So it's great that these formulations have that in them. Moving down the line, we have what we would consider our amino acid based formulas, starting with Phenolate Essential. We've got 5 great flavors there for that formula. Moving on to Paraflex LQ, we've got an orange cream and a berry cream here. This particular formula, anytime you see LQ on nutritious products, it means liquid. And this one comes in a berry cream and orange cream and 15 grams protein equivalent per carton. And then of course, following that would be our Paraflex Advance. That's another powdered formulation that is fantastic for our PKU community. And next slide, please. Thank you. So this group of products is what we would consider our lower volume products. That could also mean more concentrated. Some of them have less sugar or a little less caloric as well. But definitely different than the products that we just recently saw that were nutritionally complete. Again, this very first offering at the top, if you can see that, is our Phenolate GMP Ultra. That is our most recent offering to our PKU community. The great thing about this product is that it actually has a lemonade flavor. And that's really fun considering we've never been able to bring a lemonade flavor to our PKU community. So this is the very first one. And I will tell you guys, patients love this formula. So if you have an opportunity to talk with your healthcare provider and this is a formulation that would be appropriate for you, I would encourage you to try it, but certainly have that conversation with your healthcare provider. Moving down the line would be our amino acid-based formulas. And so you'll see right underneath the Ultra is our Phenolate 60. That is a very similar concept to our Phenolate GMP Ultra, but they are nowhere near the same type of product. One is GMP and one is amino acid based, but they both within a 20 gram protein equivalent will have about 100 calories. So it really just depends on the flavor, to be honest, but that's another great option. I do want to pull out the Low Flex LQ because that one is a little bit different compared to some of the other products that we were talking about. Many of the other products are more of a milky, almost creamy type base. This truly is a juicy formula, and we actually do have real fruit juice in it. Each pouch is 20 grams protein equivalent, and we have 3 great flavors. We've got a juicy orange, juicy tropical, and a mixed berry blast as well. So this formula too has DHA in it. Noticing a theme, right? And then of course, following up with that would be our XB Maximum. And one of the things that makes this formula stand out is it has negligible amounts of fat in it. So if we can go on to the next slide, please. Thank you. And so this is a really neat group of products, because if you have ever been a mommy to be, or if you're currently a mommy to be, or read a book about becoming a mom, you will know that there are a number of months during your pregnancy that smell and in, which we're going to do a deep dive in just a second, in our Phenolate MTE amino acid blend. And if you can go on to the next slide, please. Thank you. And so let me tell you why this Phenolate GMP mix-in is really one of the best products for our maternal PKU patients that can have a GMP-based formula. This particular product happens to be the most flexible and the most concentrated GMP-based formula on the market. Top line information, it's 10 grams protein equivalent per sachet or per pouch, however you want to call it, 42 calories and 15.3 milligrams of Phe. Again, coming back to the fact that we are going to have a little bit of Phe in our GMP-based formulas. The great thing about this formula, it is virtually tasteless and virtually odorless. So I can imagine that you guys are thinking, that's exactly what I need, most likely when I'm probably in that, 4th or 5th month of pregnancy, or whenever those smells or tastes actually become an issue. If you don't mind going to the next slide, please. So essentially, whenever we say it's the most flexible formula on the market, we're basically telling you that you can essentially create your own custom GMP-based formula. And that's really a neat concept, because that concept has not been around very long, and patients seem to love this. We actually have 3 recommendations or suggestions on how you can mix this Phenyl A GMP mix-in into your formula. And if we can go to the next slide. We lost someone. Can you hit the next slide, please?
Sorry, my battery's dying. Next slide, Kate.
Clearly. But the very first option that we give you is to really create a protein boost by adding it to your current formula. So let's say you're on Phenyl A GMP drink mix, or even Phenyl A Essential. It doesn't necessarily have to be another GMP-based formula. You open up a sachet of your current formula, you put that in about 5 to 6 ounces of water. And there you have 10 grams protein equivalent. That's the serving size that comes out of the pouch. Now, if you add a sachet of the Phenyl A GMP mix-in, you don't necessarily have to add more water. You just add the protein from that pouch, and now you have 20 grams protein equivalent. And you really do not have to add more water. You can if you want. So that's a personal preference, but you don't necessarily have to increase volume here. And so you can really do that with any formula that you're taking. Next slide, please. Our second option really is just to go ahead and mix it with any other favorite drink that you have. So that could be something as simple as an iced coffee, iced decaffeinated coffee, fruit juices, coconut milk, anything that you're drinking on a daily basis. One of my favorite ways to actually taste test this with patients at patient events is to use it in Gatorade. I actually think it's called G2 here. It's the version of Gatorade that does not have any protein in it, does not have any Phe obviously in it, and does not have aspartame either. So fun fact about GMP-based formulas though, if you're going to add it to a bottle, let's say, a Gatorade bottle or a juice bottle that you buy at a store, I encourage you to dump out about 1 to 2 inches of liquid out of that bottle before pouring in the GMP mix-in. And the reason is GMP formulations happen to be very fluffy. So we're going to need that 1 or 2 inches at the top of the bottle to be able to get the GMP mix-in there and start dissipating into the liquid, and then you can put that cap back on and shake it, and all is well. So so even if you're not adding it into a bottle, just know that these formulas are just a little bit, for lack of a better word, fluffy. And if you don't mind going to the next slide, please. And then a third option is making a spoonable option by adding it into what we consider semi-solid foods. So another way that I love to taste test this at patient events is to actually mix a sachet into a single serve of the So Delicious coconut yogurt. That single serve is about 5.3 ounces. And so 1 packet will bring that So Delicious yogurt up to 10 grams protein equivalent. It mixes beautifully. I'll usually mix it with 3 or 4 different flavors, 2 or 3 different flavors at patient events, and let the patients choose. And I'm not kidding, the patients really do love eating the formula this way. You can also add it to things like applesauce, pasta sauce even, soups if you want to. So next slide, please. as I mentioned, if you don't want to drink all your formula, you can go ahead and eat some of it too. So we do offer a number of creative recipes to add your GMP mix into. And what you're seeing on the screen right now is a delicious carrot and squash soup with ginger. So basically what you would do is go ahead and make this recipe. And then when you're ready to eat, pull out your individual serving and mix in a sachet of the Phenolate GMP drink mix there. Once again, it's virtually tasteless and odorless, so you will barely even recognize that it's there, but then you'll be getting your 10 grams protein equivalent. And next slide, please. And before I wrap things up here, I do want to share with you guys, if you're not familiar with one of the kits that we offer for our maternal PKU patients, it's a maternal PKU starter kit. This is a fantastic kit because we do recognize that being pregnant or being a maternal PKU patient can be daunting in the beginning. And we do want to provide support for you guys as you're embarking on this journey. And this kit is an amazing way to do that because it offers pieces like what you're seeing on the screen right now around PKU and pregnancy. You will also have a couple of fact sheets around pregnancy and dining out. Recipe books as well, specific to some of our formulations. So the shake up one that you see at the bottom middle, that would be appropriate for our Phenolate GMP drink mix formula. The other one right to the left of it with the word Max on it, those are recipes for our Maximum products. So we have lots of recipes. If you look right in the middle, there is another recipe book that you will be receiving. It's actually an Italian inspired recipe book that's based off of our low protein pastas. And I'm going to share another fun fact with you guys. Our low protein pastas are actually made in Italy. Starting about 50 years ago in Tuscany with the Minucci family, they started making low protein pastas, and they have been doing this for 5 generations now. So if you're eating any of our low protein pastas, or if you use this recipe book and you start to use our low protein pastas, you're actually eating authentic Italian pasta. So thank you guys. That's all I have to share, and really do appreciate you guys allowing us to be here with you today.
Thank you so much, Dawn. That's great. It must be why the low protein pasta tastes so good because I have taste tested James. And he's a really picky eater, even though he's not maternal PKU, clearly being a boy. I can say the GMP mix-in he is a fan of. So we add that in from time to time to his meal planning. Amanda, how are you with your travels? I can't see her camera anymore because mine's in a different... Oh, there we go. I think you're talking, but you're muted. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, hon.
Okay.
So how are you? Are you able to? I don't want to hear any metal crashing sounds. Are you able to chat?
I'm about 10 minutes from my house, but I can chat.
Okay.
Yeah, I left all my notes at home. I apologize for getting the time mixed up. I'm currently driving my daughters home from dance class, but I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Amanda Cosburn. I'm from Kamloops, BC. Originally from the island, I've lived in Kamloops for 9 years now. I'm a PKU adult. I have 2 daughters who are in the car with me right now. My daughter Madeline just turned 5 in March. She was born in 2016, and my baby Amelia is 20 months old, and she was born August 19th, 2019. So I've been through maternal PKU twice. And my daughter's just trying to tell a story and talk over me. So just a second, honey. Okay, mommy's talking. Thank you, honey. So when I found out I was pregnant with Madeline, I was actually not on the preconception diet. And I do not recommend that at all. It adds so much stress and worry. I felt like I could not breathe until I had my 20-week anatomy scan and they confirmed that she was okay. Because I did get my levels down and in range within a week. I had to go on this like crash diet that like I had to drop my fee down to 200 milligrams. I changed my formula. I had to start tracking and weighing everything, which I hadn't been doing. And I was doing blood docs like every other day and dropping them off at the hospital so they could be couriered. And I got them down really, really fast. And I was always told that, like, if you didn't get them down by the time organogenesis starts, then there would be damage and the baby would have side effects. So I was always told, like, that 6 to 7 weeks, if your levels weren't down, there would be complications. And luckily I found out with both of my girls around 4 weeks pregnant, so super, super early. And I was able to get my levels down. And my levels went from the mid-20s down to 4. So I count differently. We count milligrams of fee. And so for my range is 2 to 4 milligrams. So it was a lot of work, and I kept them down. I had early dating scans because I had been on birth control with both girls. So they were both unplanned. They were both surprises, and got them down, had a dating scan around 6 weeks with both of them. There was already a heartbeat. It was very nerve-wracking those first few weeks, not knowing I'd gotten my levels down, but wondering if it was in time and if everything was okay. And then waiting for that anatomy scan at around 20, 21 weeks was very nerve-wracking. So I don't recommend it. I tell everyone, please, please, please do the preconception diet. It just is so much better. Both my girls are my miracles, my surprises. I wouldn't change anything other than being on the maternal PKU diet beforehand. I had always wanted a midwife with my pregnancies. I'd always wanted to be a mom. I always wanted to have a baby. I didn't think it was ever going to happen for me because I had really high levels. I'm very liberal with my diet. I don't eat meat. I don't eat anything, but I eat a lot of rice. I eat a lot of sushi. I like avocado sushi, yam sushi, rice, and then bigger portions of like pastas and stuff that I'm supposed, like the low protein pastas. So I'm not usually within my feed tolerance. And it started to get away from me after a while. I do drink all my formula. I enjoy my formula, but I'm just not great on my diet. So I didn't think I was ever going to be able to have a baby. And here I am now, a mom of 2. And it's been amazing. So my doctor didn't want me to have a midwife, but I advocated for myself. And I talked to the midwifery clinic here in Kamloops, and I asked them if they would take me on, and they agreed. So I had shared care with the local OBGYN and the midwife, but my midwife was my primary, and she delivered my babies, and she did care for me. And the care was pretty much like any other pregnancy, except I had a couple of extra scans. I had a maternal medicine fetal specialist in Vancouver who I saw, I think, twice with Madeline and once with Amelia. They did my anatomy and growth scans. They do a fetal echo and a specialized scan to check the chambers of the heart and the brain development, just to make sure the baby's not having any symptoms from high Phe. And at the anatomy scans, both times, they did 3D for us. And with Madeline, we did not find out that she was a girl, but I was pretty sure she was a girl because I seen on the 2D and I know what to look for. So I was pretty confident she was a girl. With Amelia, we did get to find out, and they did tell us that we were having another girl. So my dream came true to be a mom to 2 girls. Madeline's pregnancy was pretty uncomplicated. I did levels, just a sec, honey. What is it? Sorry, just 1 minute. It's okay, honey. Madeline's pregnancy was fairly uncomplicated. I did have a couple of extra scans because she was measuring very, very small, and being a first-time pregnancy and a first-time one with my PKU, my doctors and my team were very particular. I did blood tests 3 days a week from home, and I dropped them off at the lab and had them couriered through the intramail. My Phe levels were within range. My tolerance was fairly low for the first trimester, and most of the second trimester, it actually didn't start to climb till I think about 18 weeks, and then it shot up. By the time Madeline was born, I was at 2,000 milligrams of Phe, or 40 grams of protein, from my regular like 5 to 8 grams that I'm supposed to get. So I had a ball trying foods and being able to eat rice without consequences, without worrying about my brain, and I got to enjoy my sushi. I didn't really add too many new foods because I knew that they would have to go away, and I didn't want to be tempted by them when I returned to the low protein diet. So I mostly stuck to like bread, rice, ice cream, because I actually wasn't getting enough calories. I had actually dropped just over 10 pounds in the first 2 trimesters of my pregnancy, and I was already overweight to start. So I needed more calories. And so after dinner every night, I got to have like 2 cups of Oreo ice cream. So that became my favorite. I added MTE amino acid mix to my formula. I was drinking buttermilk, and well, actually in the first couple of trimesters, because my Phe was so low, the buttermilk was taking quite a chunk of my tolerance. I switched back to phenylate, which I had been on as a teenager. And I was on the phenylate until my Phe started to go up. And then I switched back to the buttermilk. And I was adding the MTE amino acid mix into my formula. So I'm just pulling and I'm just backing into my driveway right now.
I have to say, Amanda, some of those corners, you look like NASCAR. I was really worried for you. So just to kind of, you're kind of getting things in sorted there. Once you had the baby, so we know that your tolerance went up and you got to enjoy more foods, and your protein, your formulas had to change. When you had the babies, how did that change things with your eating habits and lifestyle and preferences? Do you know what I'm asking? Does that make sense? I don't know if you're frozen or I am.
Anything. And then I got really, really hungry. We were having challenges with nursing. I wasn't producing. I was doing an SNS system to try to get her breast milk and formula. And it was just a very stressful time. And so I struggled immensely with getting back into control of my diet, that eventually just gave up for the first year. And then with Amelia, I was a bit more prepared, and I was just like, I am not going to worry about diet after she's born. Like, I'm not going to eat rice and everything that I'm not supposed to be eating, but I'm not going to weigh and track and measure as closely as I had when I was pregnant. I'm just going to take this. Sorry, I'm just going to take it.
That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you experience cognitive challenges with that choice?
Absolutely. Yes. So after Madeline was born, I suffered a lot from postpartum anxiety, and I noticed it come back with Amelia as well. So I had a conversation with my doctor planning for my decision and what I was going to do afterwards. And I got back on my antidepressants because I wasn't able to nurse Amelia either. And I got back on my anti-anxiety and antidepressant pills a lot sooner after having her. With Madeline, I tried to stick it out for 7 months on my own before asking for help, because I had that like new mom and like didn't want people to think I couldn't do it kind of attitude. So it was really challenging, but it's getting better every day. So with Amelia, I was in a car accident when I was 6 months pregnant. So things are a little bit different with her. I'm actually still recovering, and it's been very challenging. I had a very difficult birth with Amelia, and I still feel side effects from that, even though she's coming up too. So But my journeys with pregnancy were remarkable. I had, I had great health, probably the best health that I've been in years. My hair was so long and like shiny and luscious, and my skin was really good, and I was really healthy. I had lots of energy. I recorded a blog while I was pregnant for both of my girls, where I would update it daily or weekly. I recorded my birth story, and I now do a mentoring program for PKU moms. We have a support group on Facebook, and I try to keep my blog active, but with 2 kids in a pandemic, it's been a little challenging. Madeline was born 10 days late, and she was 6 pounds, 11 ounces. And she just burst my heart right open. She was the best thing that ever happened to me. She was the answer to every single one of my prayers and wishes and hopes forever. And I remember when they put her on my chest that I was like, I did it. Like, I did it. And I was like bawling because I finally had this little baby girl that I've been dreaming about my entire life. So it was the hard work and everything just felt so worth it. And I just knew that I did a good job. And like, I worked so hard to keep my levels and everything perfect. Like, there was a time in my pregnancy where things were just going so smoothly and so easily that they were like, you don't even really need to track anymore or weigh or measure, or like, because my protein went up so high and everything was going so well, but I just kept doing it because I wanted to know that I did my very, very best for my girls.
That's a really important point. And I remember you going through the whole story with Madeline when it was happening, and we were all so proud of you from here at Camp PKU and your journey. It's incredible. I am going to move just to the next screen, which I think is Q&A. Absolutely it is. This will give you a little bit of time, perhaps, depending on the questions, to get the girls in the house or in the backyard to prep.
Yeah. Come on.
And we'll see if there's any questions that anyone else has from the
This is Madeline. She just wanted to say hello. Back up,
Hi,
honey.
Madeline.
Okay, come on, honey, out of the car. I'll just mute myself while I get them out.
Yeah, no problem. So if anyone has any questions, they can type them in the chat box. They can type them in the Q&A box, and we will answer those out. So I just had to mute there for a ringing phone. As always, if I'm not seeing any questions pop up right now. So as always, we at Camp PKU have the stance of you checking with your own clinic for your own specific care, because they follow you, they know what's best for you. We are here to support you. We have a few moms that work on the mentoring program through Camp PKU. We can put you in touch with any of the sponsors that we have for the nutritional products, Nutricia being our presenter today with all their wonderful stuff. But your clinic is where you're going to get the best care for you, with all of us supporting you, of course.
Yes, and as Tanya said, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Adrienne.
I just wanted to say that we will contact you by email after the session to send you the documents that we presented, and also to ask if you want to order a maternal PKU kit.
Amanda, I just wanted to comment that your story just gave me goosebumps. I used to be a metabolic dietitian, and I had the privilege of helping along 2 moms to be through 2 pregnancies when I was practicing. And it was just, at the end, you have 2 healthy babies, and it's a miracle. I mean, it's just incredible, and it's so much hard work, and the perfect definition of a labor of love, I would say. So congratulations on your wonderful girls.
And Rachel, can you take a moment just to maybe address, like, what are the highs and the lows that you've seen through that practice that some of these moms may experience, to know that they're normal?
Absolutely. So I think what's hard, for new moms who have a child who's diagnosed with PKU, or women who are going through pregnancy as someone with PKU for the first time, it's your first time, right? And so knowing that line of, is this because of PKU? Is this just part of being pregnant? So much of that, a lot of my role was really sort of nodding and going, this is okay, this is normal, this is part of being pregnant. And then for the things that aren't, it's just really, it's a mental game. I mean, obviously it's incredible hard work and planning, so much planning. But it's, for me as the dietitian, it was like, okay, I'm cheerleader number one, you know, that's my role here, because if I can help my patients keep a clear mind, sort of eye on the prize, that's the most important thing. I think dealing with some of those side effects, you know, the nausea, everything smelling weird or bad, those were some of the hurdles that I helped my patients through with a little bit more, you know, practical solutions of, you know, how do we try a new formula option maybe, or we, you know, mix a couple of formulas together so we can get that lower volume option. I think my two patients would say it's worth it. It's all worth it.
I know, seeing Madeline and Amelia, it shows it's worth it. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
Girls. I'm just going to switch here. Just as we're ending out all of our webinars with the same kind of information here about, we do have a new website. On the new website, you can create your profile. So you can choose things like you want to be part of the Maternal PKU group. And that means that as Adrienne Nutricia shares documents with us regarding maternal PKU, we can get them to you without getting them to the guys on our mailing list. Like, we can kind of tailor what we're sending out. So updating your profile will certainly help us with getting out that information to you. And it'll also give you access to things like the chat forums and that type of stuff, so you can speak to other moms going through the same thing at the same time to know, again, what's normal, what's PKU normal, what's pregnancy normal. And I think we're good. If there's no other questions popping up, I want to absolutely thank our Nutricia team. You guys are wonderful. And as well as Amanda Cosberg with running around. Amanda, thank you so much for joining in.
I did not realize that my camera was on while I was trying.
That's okay. We had a lot of switches with this seminar, so it's all good.
Gosh, I'm so sorry.
Thank everyone for your efforts. And it's all part of being a mom. It's good, Amanda.
Yeah.
All right, thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a good day.